You guys want to share?
You should start with what it's felt like.
Since I've been here in Arizona, I have never felt such blatant racism before. I've gone through it before in my life, as a Latina, as a Muslim, as a combination of both. But here, it's just all up in your face. And to know that we're doing something just to register voters and people not wanting to register or not wanting to know anything about the cause Promise Arizona because of what we stand for against the SB 1070 bill, they just don't want to hear it. And the smile on their face, just seeing the numerous smiles on people's faces just kind of vanish as soon as I would mention what Promise Arizona was about, it just gave me this look of like, I'm not interested. That was sad. I mean, I can't find any other word to describe that.
Yeah, I think one thing that came to mind for me yesterday was maybe like 2 weeks ago I was watching an interview with one of the elder Supreme Court justices, and I can't remember who it was, but I don't know, I can't remember who said it, but there's a phrase that says, you know, education is, what's the phrase? Basically that education prepares you for participation in a democratic society is the point of it. And this Supreme Court justice was saying that in his life, probably one of the worst things he's ever seen happen is the removal of like civics classes out of the public education system. And so you have people growing up who don't know their obligation, don't know their rights to this society. And that was one of the first things that came to mind yesterday when we were outside of Target, and this young security guard rolls up on his scooter and...
Segway.
It wasn't even a real Segway, it was a scooter. It was a three-wheeler. I was going to push him off of it. No. But he rolls up and he's like, he asked me, do you have probable cause to be here? And I'm in the middle of registering a voter. And so I was like, what does that mean? What do you mean, do I have probable cause? And he clearly didn't have an answer. He starts to like radio his boss or something. And he's like, you can't be out here. I was like, no, what do you mean probable cause in this situation? And he just starts stuttering. He clearly has no clue what he's talking about. But it was just that combination of ignorance but distaste for us registering people that was just so like worrisome to me. Like where did we get to the point where people are so anti-involving others in this democratic process? To the point where he told us, not only do you have to get off our property, but he made the person who I was registering stop writing immediately and hand me the pad back. And so that guy and I just walked over to the street and he finished registering. But it was just so absurd. And then Hazel and I stood on that corner and registered a few more people, and we were coming back through the parking lot. This guy rolls up on us on his scooter again, and he's like, "You're back on our property." And we're like, "Just calm down, man. We're walking to our car. Can we walk across the lot?" It's just, what was so striking to me about it was that there was just ignorance behind his hatred. Like there was no real impetus for what he was doing. You could tell he didn't know why he didn't want us out there registering people, or why he was so ardently against it. So, I don't know. We need to fix our education system too. Immigration and education.
It all coincides.
Yeah.
And even at the bus stop, I was speaking with people, and I had a couple of people register to volunteer, and this one woman just started yelling at me. And she's like, it's because of those refugees and my husband can't get a job, and he has experience doing security for the last 25 years. And she just kept going on and on. And the person that was volunteering, he was like, "Ma'am, you're being very ignorant." And they were just kind of battling it out. And I was explaining the importance of not having SB 1070 passed in the state of Arizona. And she, at the end, just didn't even want to hear it. What's interesting is that the guy who signed up to volunteer actually just became an American citizen not that long ago. And he felt it was his duty to be a part of this movement, and he was just so proud of the campaign and getting people out to vote. And he said, "You guys are in our prayers." He's like, "You guys are in my prayers." So it was nice to know that even within himself, his own story, his own life, he recently became an American, and he feels that it is his job to not have something like this pass.